Hey guys, Jim here. I want to share with you right now my favorite new acquisition, probably one of my top favorite knives in my entire collection. This is the R.J. Martin Modulator. Now you guys know I'm a huge R.J. Martin fan. I've owned several Q36s. I think they're, well, absolutely amazing. And, R.J. is the flipper king. Nobody makes a flipper as lightning fast and as incredible as he does. There are a lot of great flippers out there, a lot of great makers doing great things, but still nothing quite compares to an R.J. Martin. So what we're getting into here is a knife that's substantially smaller than a Q36, definitely going to be easier to pocket and carry, and this one is a lot more exotic than my particular Q36. What we're looking at here on this side is a full side of zirconium, and inlaid into that zirconium completely seamlessly is presentation grade white pearl. So you've got this beautiful, beautiful scale of white mother of pearl inlaid into a material that I love. I love zirconium. Zirc is not quite as light as titanium. It's really close. It's almost there. But I love Zirc because of two reasons. Number one, you can't make black titanium. There is no way to finish this in any practical way that will make it black. Unless you do a DLC coating, and then, listen, if you're going to be doing coatings, everybody feels slightly differently about that. I like this because it's got that black look. It's different. 90% of all good, high-quality, tactical, quote-unquote, knives that are out there are 6AL4V titanium. So this keeps it a little bit special by having Zirc. Also, I like the fact that it is a bit more scratch and wear resistant than titanium. You know, titanium, it has a great tensile strength, but it's a soft compound, so it's very easy to scratch. Zirconium, on the other hand, is going to be a little bit more resistant to scratching and normal everyday pocket wear, so it could look newer for a little bit longer. Also, it's pretty exotic because a lot of makers will not work with it because it is more dangerous. You know, anytime you grind anything, you're going to get sparks coming off of it. You know, you're grinding down titanium, you're going to get, little sparks that'll fly for a second or a half a second or something. You start grinding down Zirc, and all of a sudden you have these huge, almost like fireballs, almost like comets flying through your shop. And they can stay lit for a very long time, even once they've hit the ground or anything else around them, and they can ignite other things because of the more intense heat involved. So some people really don't want to work with Zirc. I'm really glad that RJ does. On the back here, you have the Lightning Strike carbon fiber, which is just like the back spacer on my Q36. Then we have a Mokutai pocket clip. And these are, I found out from Barry, new to knives, that RJ actually hand bends every one of his clips, even the standard titanium clips. So each one of these is bent by hand. This is it's a nice looking clip, and it gives you a bit of personality to this rather standard titanium side. I love the grooves that are in here. It adds a little bit of something for the eye, but it's actually practical as well when you're holding the knife and going to flip it open. Your thumb doesn't feel like it wants to slide around. And then, of course, one of the most important features, this is the Chad Nichols Damascus blade. Now, I've had a chance to handle some Q36s in Damascus, but I have not owned one. And I am very, very happy now to finally have one of RJ's knives in Damascus, and in what I think is the perfect carry size. So let's give you some size comparisons here. We'll break out the King. Yeah, still nothing quite sounds like a Q though, right? You know? Love that sound. Alright, so we put these butt to butt, and you will see that there is quite a dramatic difference. I'd say just about between 3/4 and a full inch of difference overall. The feeling in the hand is a little bit slimmer as well. See if I can get that to stand up. Yeah. and it lacks the contouring that the Q36 has, but it doesn't really need it. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it has the same type of backspacer by doing the lightning strike carbon fiber. This is a different execution of it. It's almost like it's polished as opposed to that one. And so there's a lot of similar shapes too between these two knives as well. So ergonomically in the hand, they're going to feel very similar. You've got this very large choil here. You have the prominent thumb ramp. Same basic blade profile. This kind of has a little more of a downward angle, it seems like, at least in this lighting. No, it is actually the same. So basically you could think of the Modulator as a miniature or mid-sized Q36, because the Q36 is also offered in a titanium frame lock. So you can really think of this as a miniature or mid-sized Q36 frame lock. So this is going to put it size-wise larger than my Brad Southern Tarsus, which I prefer. I prefer a slightly larger size than that. That is going to put it, oh, don't get your finger near the edge of a Rockstead. Almost identical to my Rockstead Shin. And one more for comparison. A lot of people have handled a Kirby Lambert Snap. It's just a tiny touch bigger than a Snap MGT. Difference being it will be slimmer, because Kirby's known for pretty chunky knives. So there you go. And it's mostly because of the contouring and how this swells out versus this being a flat-sided handle. In my opinion, this is damn near perfect. You've got presentation grade mother of pearl with an absolutely seamless integration into the zirconium. You do not feel any inlay here. It's just smooth as glass. I wanted something that was a little bit dressier. I was very fortunate to have lucked into this because this was one of the lottery knives for the New York show. And I was not able to get in on any of the lotteries. Luckily, a friend of mine did. And I paid him a handsome sum on top of what he paid in order to be able to get this. I had to leave the show with this knife, period. I was not going to take no for an answer. Did I break my general spending rule? And you guys know I'm rather inflexible on that. Yes, I did. Because I looked at this and went, this is the knife that's going to make my trip worth it, period. And I would have agonized over it if I would have passed up on it. Oh. And the other difference is I like buying stuff from friends. And Sebastian's a friend. And I don't mind paying a little bit of extra to help him achieve his goals and get the knives that he wanted to get. So I hope that worked out for him. I had a wonderful opportunity to sit down and hang out with RJ for quite a while, as well as his son Martin. I'm sorry, Matthew. Did I just say Martin? Yeah, I believe I did. As well as his son Matthew. And I got to tell you, he was probably one of the nicest guys there and very generous with his time. I didn't realize it, but he had seen the videos that I had done on the Q36s in the past. And he was just a wonderful, accepting person. And we had some great conversations about a lot of different stuff, a lot of knives in general, his knives, other people's knives. And, he was just a really super nice guy. This is the kind of guy that you want to give your money to. When you deal with certain makers, some have egos, some have attitudes. And I don't think that should always play into whether you're going to buy a knife from them or not. But it's always nice to give your money to somebody that's actually really nice and appreciative of you choosing them, because there are a lot of choices out there. So I found him to be rather refreshing. He's a pretty quiet guy. He's a fairly reserved guy, but just one of those guys that you really enjoy talking to. So it was a wonderful experience and a great takeaway for me as I left that show. And he was so cool about it. It was before he had done any of the lotteries. So he pulled out all of the knives that he brought. One was a full Timascus variation that was going to be an open bid knife, and all the rest were lottery knives. And he pulled them all out, and some had more of an eggshell color pearl and whatnot. And I got a chance to kind of touch and play with a few of them. And I remember handling this one and loving the detent on it. And going, I really need to have one of these. I must have one of these. And I knew what would happen if I didn't get in on the lottery. Then if I saw a dealer that snatched one of these up, it'd be well over $3,000. And I think anybody that bought one this weekend that decides to come home and resell it, I think they're going to be around $3,000. So I feel I got a great deal. The table price on this, like I said, was $1,500, which is really fair for all that you're getting with the Damascus, with the Pearl, with the Zirconium, with the Mokutai. There's a lot that goes into this. And from what I understand, now you don't quote me on this, but I was told that he is not currently making modulators. And he has no plans to for a while. So this was made kind of as a show special. So that makes it even more rare and a bit more unique as well. So I knew I had to have one, so I didn't mind overpaying. But I do believe that I'm still under what the market is going to be for the people that are reselling these. But this is one that I could tell you right now, I have no intention on selling. Very certain this is going to stay in my collection for a very long time, if not forever. And there's only a handful of knives I can truly say that about, that I'm this excited about. I mean, this one gets me giggly in all my tickly spots. This really fires on all cylinders. It's everything that I want. It's fairly slim. It's easy to carry. It's got great retention on the pocket clip. It's got exotic materials that has a certain radiance and beauty to it. It's a lightning fast, firing hard flipper. It's got a super smooth action to it, even though it's not even broken in yet. It's got a Damascus blade, which I love, and a lot of people are worried about, well, it's Damascus. I feel like it's more delicate and I have to be more gentle. It's actually the opposite. Damascus is going to be good for hard use, and it's going to be good for an everyday carry knife. So, why worry about it? A lot of people are afraid to carry a Damascus knife. I used to be. Not anymore. Not after I learned. Nothing wrong with it. And I tell you one thing, I look forward to getting some of his son's tactical pens. I sat down and talked with Matthew a little bit, probably a good half hour or so. And he just graduated high school and he's making these pretty kick-ass tactical pens. I got to tell you, if you weren't looking at him to recognize how young he was, you'd swear you're talking to somebody twice his age. Very mature, very, very intelligent, and understands what people want. And he goes, oh, you really should get one of these and try it out and see what you think. I said, I don't know shit about pens. It's not something that I've ever gotten into. And I've always avoided them. I mean, Hinder's famous for making some really cool tactical pens. And there's so many brands out there and so many makers. And I've never looked at them twice. I mean, seriously, never. And standing there in front of him, I started getting a little bit curious because he had some that were done in twisted Damascus. He had some that were done in titanium, actually all done in titanium. But all these really cool materials. I think he even had a Mokutai or Timascus there as well. And I started playing with them, and I got a sudden realization that the quality and the fitment of the combination of materials that he had there, it was a lot like looking at his father's knives. It was a lot like what you would look at when you're looking at a really expensive knife. The fitment of the components, the exotic nature of the components, how hard those components are to work with as a material to form and to shape and to cut and to grind. And I realized, well, hell, these are really cool. And I'm kinda getting into the pen thing now, and that's scary to me. So I have to thank Matthew for changing my mind and turning my head to something I had never really considered before. I know a lot of you guys are shaking your head going, geez, it's about time. When are you going to start carrying a flashlight now? Listen, don't get me started on the friggin' flashlight thing. It's probably not going to happen. Never found myself in a dark area where I needed a flashlight. I'm smart enough to stay out of dark areas. I'm a real suburban dude. I mean, when I go out in my backyard, I don't have 10 acres back there of knee-high grass that I got to get through or anything. It's not like I'm Bawana, the great white hunter. I don't need a flashlight and a machete to go out in my backyard. I'm sure there's a practical purpose somewhere in my life. I just haven't really found a need for it. Anyway, back to the knife. Again, size-wise, this is just perfect for my particular hand size. Feels great. It's going to do everything that I want it to do. And yes, this will be a daily carry EDC. Probably going to replace one or two of my other knives entirely. That'll probably go out of rotation for a long time, or maybe even permanently. Because this is one that not only can I feel free to use it without fear, but how impressive is something like this when you pull it out of the pocket, even to a non-knife person. Now, I don't buy my stuff to impress other people. I buy things because I like them, but it really is nice when you can get some validation from someone else, where they go, hey, I really admire the choice that you made. Oh, hey, that's a beautiful knife. I love that mother of pearl. Or what's up with that blade? That's a really artistic, beautiful piece. And these are the kind of things that I appreciate. So yeah, this is going to get carried a lot. I can't wait to, so I haven't been able to carry it yet because A, I had to ship everything back to me because I live in Miami and the show was in Jersey City, and I wasn't going to trust TSA not to go through my bags after it went through an x-ray. So I shipped everything back, and everything got here yesterday. And I tend to, on my maybe fancier knives, I guess is a good way to say it, on my fancier knives, I tend not to carry it till I've at least gotten a quick video done and maybe a little bit of photography. Because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to rough it up. Prime example, I couldn't hold myself back at the show, and I carried my Chavez Redención. Within an hour of putting it in my pocket, it's scarred for life. Now, I don't give a shit personally because this was made to be a hard-use knife, but I hadn't had a chance to do a nice video review or any photography on it yet. So, unfortunately, that will, be burned into my memory forever. And I didn't want to do that with this one. Now that I've actually done the video, I get to start carrying it. And being my first zirconium knife, I'm really excited. The closest I've gotten is my Southern, where I have a Zirc on the back spacer and a Zirc ring around the pivot. That's it, but everything else is titanium and as you see, carbon fiber. So I really like having the Zirc on here. Very slick, very cool. Nice dark motif throughout with that pop of beautiful presentation grade mother of pearl. I'm out of here for right now, guys. Thank you so very much for watching. As you can tell, I'm very excited about this knife. If you ever come across, any variation of a modulator, and you had held a Q36 and went, well, I love the Q36 and I want that kind of flipping action, but it's just too big. Search out a modulator if you can find one, grab it. Yeah, you're gonna pay a lot of money for it because, listen, RJ's one guy. He can only make so many knives. But it's worth the money. I'll tell you that right now. It's not going to be a safe queen. It's going to be a knife that you're going to want to carry. I carry the hell out of my Q36. I mean, I carry this thing a lot. Enough for me to actually put my very expensive crisp black skull bead on there, as a matter of fact. I love this knife. But there have been times that I've shied away from carrying it on a day just because it was a little bigger than I wanted to carry for that day. Now I've got the perfect size. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that look. I'm going to get to work on a few more videos. See you soon.